You would like answered, give us a shout, 436-1212. For the next couple of minutes, Charlie O'Hara will be here answering our legal questions. All right, the big case that we're talking about right now has to do with the mother in Wellington who is accused of killing, stabbing, and beating her 10-year-old son to death. Now, she's having her preliminary hearing tomorrow morning. What does that mean for her? Kind of give us a refresher on that.
I actually think it's a first appearance.
First appearance, yes. Okay, yes.
First appearance is simply to start you in the system. You go into the system. They explain what the charges are against you. If you don't have the money to hire an attorney and you don't have any money, they'll appoint an attorney for you. Then they usually set the case over for a preliminary hearing. And a preliminary hearing is a hearing where they determine whether there is enough evidence to go to trial to argue about. It's called probable cause. I think some of it's actually the same standard that has been involved in the grand juries in the Ferguson case in New York. But we in Kansas usually have a preliminary hearing, which is a contested hearing. People get on the witness stand, the defense attorney can ask questions, you get to confront people at that stage, so you know a little bit about the case. Obviously that case down there appears to have some real mental issues for the lady involved, and so I don't know what the judge will do tomorrow. Right.
Speaking of that, one of the things that the father had told us in our exclusive interview with Clip Lancet, he said that he believed the mother suffered from bipolar disorder. Now, authorities say they don't have any idea about that, but when it comes to presenting a defense for the mother, an affirmative defense for her, are they able to use that mental history as part of their defense?
They would, and what they would normally do, although lay people can come in and talk about mental illness and whether it affected someone, but actually the issue is what your mental state was at the time the crime was committed. Obviously, if you've had mental problems for a long time, it would indicate you seriously have mental problems, but you can all of a sudden have them too. And it's whether at the time you allegedly committed the act, you knew what you were doing. You had the intent to commit the crime. You have to do it intentionally. And if you're just starkly out of your mind and don't know what you're doing, well, obviously that may affect your intent to commit the crime. Very difficult defense, actually.
Absolutely. And another phrase we use a lot, and we talk about the bond she's being held under, $500,000. What does that mean for people who aren't sure the difference between bond, bail, things like that?
Same thing.
Same thing.
All you got to do is, well, there's bondsmen around, but what it is to ensure that you show up for court and you're not a danger to the public. Now, in her mental state, she might be a danger to the public with that bond, but it's a high bond, serious charge. You'd have to normally put up 10% with a bondsman, which would be $50,000, and then you'd be released. And usually the bondsman wants you to have enough assets to cover it in case the person doesn't show up. So
now this one is not going to be a case that's resolved anytime soon. It's not going to be resolved quickly. Is there any sort of idea to guess how long this might take, especially these first initial stages?
Well, I'm guessing there's going to be some doctors get involved and see whether the lady actually knows enough to even go to trial. That would be whether she's competent to try the case. And then they'd also have doctors that would assess whether or not she's sane or insane, and that would be the mental defect defense.
Okay. And we do have much more on this story on our website. It's kwch.com. We've actually interviewed Charlie before about this, so look for more information there online. Much more coming up after this, including another look at your weather with Rodney. That winter weather moving in this afternoon.